today we're going to be using some color mixing to start making this really cute little lion. We're going to make the face today. We're going to need crayons and I used marker to mix my colors, but you could just use crayons too. I'll show you both ways. Next week we're going to be making the body. Alright, so for this cute little lion today, what you're going to need is a white piece of paper. I'm using a 9 by 12 and I'm only going to use half of it today, and then the other half I'm going to use next week. So what I'm going to do first, before I start drawing anything at all, I'm going to fold my paper, and if you have scissors, you would want to cut right down that fold. Now if you don't have scissors or permission to use your scissors, what I do sometimes is I'll fold my paper back and forth along that same fold line, kind of use the side of my fingernail to press that, and then I take carefully, hold my hand flat on this side, and slowly at first kind of pull on one side, and then you don't even need scissors if you do it this way. So on this, I am going to use part of this to make my lion head, but I am going to save some of it for my tail that we will start making next week. So we'll save some of this for that as well. Now the crayons you might want to use, you could use a black to draw everything. You could use warm colors like your oranges, your reds, and your yellows, or you could even use a brown if you would like to do that. I think I'll use the brown just because it will show up nice and dark. So what I'm going to do, right about in the middle of this paper, I am going to draw the face of my lion. I'm going to draw just kind of like a big letter U. So I should be able to fit at least 3, maybe even 4 fingers inside that U, just to give you an idea how big it is. Then I'm going to close the top with a horizontal line. It's okay if it curves just a little bit. We're going to put some ears on our lion, which I do with 2 curves. And then I like to draw another line curved right here for the inner part of the ear, and I do one on each side. In the middle of the face, you will see the nose, and I use a triangle for the nose. And so I'm going to just draw kind of the letter V first, and then I close off the top. To make the mouth, you're going to go straight down. Now if you want to go all the way down to the bottom, you certainly can, just like I did with this one. Or if you feel like you want to kind of go off to each side, and then maybe you can have a tongue or something sticking out here later, you can. I'm going to draw the cheeks for my lion from the corner to the side of the face, from the corner of the triangle to the side of the face again on this side. Looks kind of like a teddy bear at this point. And then I'm going to draw from the corner of the triangle again. I'm going to go up to the top of the head and up to the top of the head from the other side too. So it kind of makes like a triangle, a really tall triangle that touches the top of my lion's head. Now just for the eyes, I like to just use circles, and I color those in all the way except for one little white dot. If you color yours all the way in, that's fine. You could add eyelashes or eyebrows to give yours a little more personality if you like. I like to add a few dots to show where the whiskers. You can even draw whiskers if you want. I did that on this one right here. And then what we're going to do, I'm going to stop, well, before I stop, I'm going to draw a zigzag line. So I'm going to just start on the side and go all the way across. I left a little room. This part up here is the part I'm going to save for my lion's tail. I'm going to do the same thing across the bottom. Just a zigzag line, not too zigzaggy, because here's the thing. We are going to be cutting them out. There's a trick to cutting out zigzags that I'll show you next week. We don't have to do the cutting today, so that's some good news. And I'm going to go like this and do it on the sides till they meet. Both sides need a zigzag. Okay, so at this point, if you have markers, you can get out your red markers, your yellow markers, your orange markers, whatever. Actually, I'm just going to use my red and my yellow because I want to see if I can make the color orange just by using these two colors to mix. Now, if you're at home and you do not have markers, you can try using crayons to do the same thing. It'll just be a little bit different. I'm going to start with yellow. It's the lightest of the two colors. And I'm going to just draw, going out from the head, some lines to the zigzag line. This space around here, the zigzag area, this is called the mane of the lion. And the mane is made up of a bunch of hair. And we're going to just have a little fun, making a little artistic fun with our mane. I'm just going to finish drawing all my lines like that. Now that I have the lines going all the way around the lion's face, I'm going to take and I'm going to color in between two of those lines. Then I'm going to skip and I'm going to do the same. And I'm going to continue in this pattern all the way around. The pattern is an A-B pattern. It will be yellow, white, yellow, white. What's next? Yellow. Yellow, white, yellow. I'll finish coloring my pattern and I'll go in speed style so you can see it all very quickly. Oh, if this happens to you where you have at the end, where you have two white spaces next to each other, add an extra yellow line right there and then color between. Okay, so now I've got my yellow and white AB pattern all the way around the lion's head, and I'm going to take my red at this point, and I am going to draw some lines, and you can choose whichever kind. You could do straight ones, curvy ones, zigzag. I'm just going to draw, and you can even mix them up if you want to. It doesn't matter to Miss Porter. I'm going to draw between in the white spaces. Now I'm going to do the same thing on top of the yellow place as well. Now that I have my pattern of yellow and white and then the red lines on top of those spaces, I am going to take either my red and my yellow marker or my red and my yellow crayon to color in parts of the face. Okay, so I've colored all the spaces on the face that I wanted to. It is okay to leave some places white. Now that I have all of the marker work done, I'm going to take a little bit of water, and you can either use a paintbrush or a cotton swab, and here's what you're going to do. You're going to dip it in the water, and we're not going to touch the face with the water, but we are going to touch the mane where we have our lines and our pattern. And I'm just going to get those wet, let the color smear. And once I get an area wet, I just move on to the next spot. Now, as this dries, you're going to notice that the colors continue to kind of move around and mix with one another. So you might see some more orange making and happening as the colors mix. But also, you have to be careful not to try to mix too much with your paintbrush or your cotton swab. If you do that, you might just tear your paper. So be very careful how much you rub or how much you wipe your paper. Every time I'm going over this, I'm rubbing a little bit. Oh, look at my cotton swab turned orange there. So you don't want to rub it all the way off of your paper. We have some nice yellow oranges, and we have some nice red oranges in here as well. So now I'm going to let this dry and then save it for next week. If you're at school, you'll want to make sure your name, I have a space right down here, I can write my name if I'm at school. And if you're at home, you will just want to save this for next week and save your other paper as well, because you will be using that to make the body next week. Now, here's what you will do if you do not have markers at home. You will take your crayons, and I'm going to just do it a little differently just because so you can see some differences. I'm going to draw my face with the crayon, the ears. Every time I draw this, it's a little bit different. The nose, the V first, the mouth and the cheeks, whiskers. We've got to finish the nose, go all the way up to the top, and then the eyes. I think this one's going to have some whiskers. Now remember, you have to do zigzag at the top, zigzag at the bottom, and zigzag on the side. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use, since I have red in my hand, I'm just going to go with red. Draw some lines. And then I'm going to take my yellow, just like I did with the marker, and I'm going to color in some places yellow in a pattern. And I'm going to do that all the way around the circle. Remember to color neatly. Whoops, I did it again. And now I'm going to add some lines in between. I'm going to start adding lines on top of this. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the same red crayon to color over the top, but this time a little bit lighter. And I think I'll just go back and add some yellow in between. And if it smears a little bit with the red that I have there, that's okay. It just makes oranges. Now, if you have an orange crayon at home and you want to add a little more orange to this, you could do that. But it's not something you have to do. Now, don't forget, you also should color the face in. All right, and there you go. You have the same kind of cute, adorable lion, just like the one that I did with marker, just on with crayons. So either way is fine with me. When you're done today, make sure you send me a picture of this and put it on Seesaw. And I can't wait to see what you've made with your lovely lion. Remember, save both papers. Until next week, stay creative and have a fabulous day.